chocolate and almond nut cake. It's really delicious. It's pretty easy too. I'm going to start by melting 60 grams of butter, and that's 2 ounces of butter, and 375 grams of beautiful chocolate. I've got Valderona chocolate, gorgeous flavour to it, and I'm just going to let those melt very gently over heat. Don't have that too hot or the chocolate will seize. That's on the lowest heat, and I'm just going to come back and stir that from time to time just until that chocolate melts and it goes into a beautiful rich cream. So that's the first step of the cake, and then we go over to the food processor, and I'm going to make an almond mix here. I've got 2/3 of a cup of blanched almonds. They go into the bowl of a food processor, and then I have 1/3 of a cup of standard flour and 1/3 of a cup of caster sugar or superfine granulated sugar, and they both go into the food processor. Flour will keep them nice and loose and free, and we'll get a really nice fine ground mixture. Bit of noise coming up now. There we are. I've got a nice and loose ground nut mixture with the sugar and flour, and that goes into a bowl. And when the chocolate and butter has melted, I'm going to put 2/3 of the chocolate and butter in there with the dry ingredients, and I'm going to keep 1/3 of the chocolate and the butter back to spread over the top of the cake like an icing. So that's our next step. That's ready. Let's have a look at the chocolate melting. So you can see there's a bit of action here. You want to have a really good flavoured chocolate for this, one with high cocoa solids. I've used Valderona, but you can use any chocolate that's got a good flavour and that's not too sweet. And just stir that. I'm keeping that at a fairly gentle heat. It's not a problem to melt chocolate in the pan straight over the heat without putting it over usually you'd set it over a bowl of simmering water to keep the heat very gentle. But because I've got the butter in there, there's extra fat, so it's looking after it okay. So we're just keeping that stirring until it's melted. And the other main ingredient for this cake is a flavouring. We've got some wonderful Cointreau, and this is an orange liqueur, and this is going to give the cake well, just a wonderful intense orange flavour, which is beautiful with chocolate, and also it's good for keeping. It helps keep the cake too. And then we've got eggs, which are going to be separated and beaten, and are the main ingredient there for making the cake nice and light. So we'll come back to those in a moment. I've got the oven preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit, and we'll just cook that in the centre of the oven. I've got a 23 centimetre cake tin, that's a 9-inch cake pan, lined with baking paper or parchment paper. That'll just stop the cake from sticking to the side. So have your cake tin prepared before you start, and have all your ingredients ready, your oven on, and then it's quite an easy matter to put the cake together. Look at that beautiful smooth chocolate. It's tempting just to stick your finger in and have a little lick. So we're nearly there, totally melted. So 2/3 of this to go into the dry ingredients. Don't forget to keep 1/3 of it back for the top, which is spread over the top of the cake once the cake is cool. There we are, we're done there. So we'll move this over. So you can just do this by guesswork. You don't need to measure it out. Keeping back about 1/3. Set that over there. We mix this together. And we also have 1/4 of a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of that lovely Cointreau. So that's the batter. Pretty simple to make that, and all we need to do now is to look at the eggs. We've got 6 eggs at room temperature. These are just average size eggs. I've used free range, and you just give those a little beat up there to break them apart. They go into the chocolate and nut mixture. And then we'll whip the egg whites. Gorgeous flavours. 6 egg whites and just a little pinch of cream of tartar. You want to have the eggs at room temperature because the egg whites will whip more easily and they'll hold more air. And the more air you get in here, the lighter the cake's going to be. It's a good tip. Right, we want the eggs just whipped until they're a very nice thick snow. If you whip them too far and they become dry, like you would for a meringue, then they'll be very difficult to mix through this rather heavy mixture. Now here's the little trick to get these two mixtures to blend, because this one's very light and aerated, this one's very thick and dense. We take a big spoonful of it and we just blend that in, and that will lighten the mixture and make it easier to fold in the remaining egg white. And there we go, we can put the rest in. A nice large spoon, and we just fold this through, bringing the chocolate mixture up over the egg white, trying to keep all that lovely air in, keeping it all nice and light, and of course we're going to get lovely rich flavour from all that chocolate. 375 grams of chocolate, or 13 ounces. It's quite a lot of chocolate, but that's the secret to it. Very little flour in here, so it's really chocolate, eggs and sugar, all the good things. So you can see how that is all coming together. I've kept it so beautifully light. Nice large spoon, going round the side of the bowl, letting the mixture just carefully fall off, not knocking out any air. And there's our perfect batter. We're going to take that over to the cake tin, put that in and get it to bake. So just let that, whoa, look at that, look at that. Beautiful. Make sure we've got a nice round shape there. Just pull that paper out a wee bit, and in it goes into the oven, 180, 350 degrees. Perfect. Into my spotless oven, of course. We're going to leave that until it's all beautifully browned and slightly risen and just firm to the touch, with just perhaps a hint of wobble in the middle.